Hello. Yes, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good morning. So today is 7th of May, and we'll start by looking at the chart on our screen. This is GBP USD. So far, we've seen some continuation to the last. The price reached a high. This was a very good resistance previously. We had a resistance here. We have a resistance here. We have the same place being used in the future, that was this around this time, and the resistance. And as I'm speaking now, the price went below some trend line, this one. So we had, this is a very good level. We had a support here, we had a support there, and we had a support here. Then the price successfully closed below that point. So after this retracement, we actually expect price to get back up to this point, where we look for a sell up to this support. So if you're looking at this chart now, you're supposed to be expecting a sell. Expect price to continue pulling back to the upper side. It should not go beyond the trend line. It should not go above this trend line. So let the price come up to this point where we look for a sell. We expect that sell to take price up to 1.22684. So if you're on this chart now, just be expecting that pullback. Expect price to continue upwards, maybe up to this point where you're supposed to look for a sell. Expect that sell to take price up to the support which I've mentioned, which is 1.22684. So the next chart is Euro USD. This is Euro USD. This too has been downwards. The price hit some high. This is a resistance here. This is a very good resistance, and the price came up to that point. It went as high as this point, but ended up closing below. So this gave us the correct place to look for a sell. If you didn't look it like that, there's a trend line here. I think this should be a very good trend line here. So we have a resistance, we have a resistance, we have this as a resistance. Then there's the lower one. We have this, the lower support. So if you're on this chart, if you are looking at this chart the way I'm looking at it, this should give us maybe some place to look for a buy from. We had that resistance here. We had a resistance. We had a resistance. We had support here. We had a support, and we expect the same place to act as a support. So if the price can give us a good buy signal around this support, then that will mean we are probably continuing upwards up to somewhere around this point, around this point. Expect price to continue up. It should bounce off from that point up to the lower side. So this entirely what has been happening. The price pull back down. If it can come back up, then this should be the correct place to look for a sell from. So this may happen next week. We may likely see price proceed up to this trend line, but should not break beyond it. So we'll move forward to our next symbol. Let's see what we have on USD/JPY. This is bearish. The price is moving to the lower side, but there are shapes here which looks very significant. We had this one in the past, sorry. We had this shape add this. So just look at how perfect this support was. It was a support which ran all the way from this point to a support, then there was a break, but so far the price has not been able to come back to it. So this is still a sell, but only when the price pulls back to this point. So if you are looking at this chart, you're supposed to have seen this, that we had a support, there was that break, there was a retracement. The first time it did come back, then there's this continuation. We expect price to get back to the same place. So this should be the correct place to be expecting a sell from. This is the ideal place where you want to pick a sell from. So if the price can come back slightly up to that point, then that should give us the correct place where we want to pick a sell from. So entirely the correct place to sell from is around 106.483. We'll scroll forward. Let's move to SP500. SP500 so far we are upwards, and you can remember yesterday I tried putting a trend line like this. It wasn't very good because we left out one part, which was this. So if you place it like this, it makes some sort of sense, but it's not necessarily the best. Have a support there, we have a support here. So should the price pull back up to this point, that will give us the correct place to look for a buy from. We expect that buy to take price upwards up to this point, up to this resistance. So if you took a buy here, remain long, expect a continuation to the upper side, expect price to break beyond this level, the place I'm drawing now, expect price to go beyond this zone, this small zone here, expect a rise beyond it, a retracement, and then a continuation up to 2966.0. So you're on this chart now, expect a break, a retracement, and then a continuation. So we'll move forward to our next symbol. We'll move forward to our next symbol, gold. Yesterday we had a trend line. This is still being used. We had a trend line there. We also had a trend line from the bottom. So if you draw it like that, it may not make a lot of sense, but it's a resistance here, a support, and we expect price to come back to it, use it as a support, then continue to the upper side. This is what would happen. So if you're on this chart as I'm speaking now, expect a possible buy from this point, expect price to proceed downwards, but should not go beyond this support. We also have a support there, and we also have a support there. We had a resistance at the top, this one. We also had a resistance here, and we had a resistance previously. So should the price come back up to this point, then this should be the correct place to look for a buy from. We expect that buy to take us up to this level. So let's move to Brent oil. Brent oil, so far we expected a move up to this level. We expected price to proceed up to this level. That is yet to happen. So as it is now, the trend is basically downwards. Expect a continuation to the lower side, and if you check the monthly chart, this should be the ideal place to look for a sell from. So basically we want price to attempt coming back up to this level. This is a very good monthly level. If the monthly chart can pull back up to this point, then this will give us the ideal place to look for a sell from. So we have a break, this is the first retracement, and then we expect the next one to come back up to that point so that we look for a buy. So thank you very much. That should bring us to the end of today's webinar. If you have any questions, kindly feel free to post them on the chat option. Should be on the right hand side of your screen. When I see them, I should be able to respond. So thank you. See you.